On the night of August 15, 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio received a signal from deep space unlike anything it had ever received before. It arrived at the precise frequency that physicists had long argued any technologically advanced civilization would use to communicate across interstellar distances. It was narrowband, not the broad, smeared signature of natural cosmic phenomena, but a tight, focused transmission. It was powerful, estimated at 30 times the background noise level of the cosmos around it. It came from a fixed point in space, not from a satellite, not from Earth, not from any known radio-emitting object in the solar system. It lasted 72 seconds. Then it stopped. The astronomer who found it in the data the following morning circled the columns of numbers with a red pen. In the margin beside them, in his own handwriting, he wrote a single word: "Wow." In the 47 years since that night, the signal has never been detected again. No source has been confirmed. No explanation has been agreed upon. The WOW signal remains the strongest candidate for extraterrestrial contact in the history of radio astronomy, and the most enduring unanswered question in the science of listening for other civilizations. The instrument that received it was called Big Ear. It stood on the grounds of Ohio State University in Delaware, Ohio, a fixed flat-plane radio telescope nearly the size of 3 football fields, stretched across several acres of farmland and oriented permanently toward the sky. It did not rotate. The sky moved past it as the Earth turned, and Big Ear listened to whatever passed through its field of view. The project it served had the kind of name that sounds like ambition compressed into an acronym: SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. By 1977, the program had been running for years, scanning the sky at radio frequencies, generating long paper printouts dense with alphanumeric data, and finding nothing unusual. The data arrived in columns. Each column corresponded to a narrow band of radio frequency. The values in each column represented signal strength, encoded in an escalating sequence. Blank space for background noise, then numbers 1 through 9 for increasing intensity, then letters A through Z for still higher values. Most columns, most of the time, were blank or nearly blank. The sky was mostly quiet at the frequencies Big Ear monitored. Dr. Jerry Ehman was a volunteer, a former Ohio State professor who had been let go when the astronomy department contracted. He came back to help with the SETI program in a capacity that involved reviewing printed data sheets by hand, reading columns of numbers, looking for anything that stood out. It was painstaking work. It required a willingness to look at a great deal of nothing in the hope of eventually finding something. On August 18, 1977, 3 days after the signal had been received, Ehman was working through the printout from the night of August 15th. He came to a column that stopped him. The values read 6EQU Job 5. In Big Ear's encoding system, this represented a signal that had risen from background noise, climbed to intensity level 6, then E, which corresponded to a value of 14 in the alphanumeric sequence, then Q, then U, then J, then descended back to 5. The peak value, U, represented a signal intensity of approximately 30 times the ambient noise of the surrounding radio environment. The pattern of rise and fall was exactly what would be expected from a fixed point in space passing through Big Ear's beam as the Earth rotated. A precise bell-shaped curve of signal intensity across the 72-second observation window. Ehman circled it. He wrote the word in the margin. He went home. He later said that he did not immediately understand the full weight of what he had circled. That came later when he thought about what the signal's characteristics actually meant. Not just that it was strong, but why it was strong in exactly those ways, at exactly that frequency, with exactly that profile. The frequency was the element that elevated the WOW signal above other anomalous detections. The signal arrived at 1420 megahertz. This is the resonant frequency of neutral hydrogen, the electromagnetic wavelength at which hydrogen atoms emit and absorb radiation as they transition between quantum energy states. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. It is everywhere, in nebulae, in stars, in the interstellar medium between solar systems. Its resonant frequency, 1420 megahertz, is therefore a universal constant, a number that any civilization with a basic understanding of chemistry and physics anywhere in the cosmos would know. In 1959, physicists Giuseppe Cocconi and Philip Morrison published a paper in the journal Nature, arguing that 14 and 20 megahertz was the most logical frequency for interstellar communication, that any civilization attempting to make itself known to others would naturally broadcast at this wavelength, because it was the one frequency guaranteed to mean something across the barrier of incompatible languages and knowledge systems. It was the frequency of the most fundamental building block of matter. It was the common ground. The wow signal arrived at exactly this frequency. It was also narrowband. Natural radio sources, stars, pulsars, the cosmic background itself, produce broad-spectrum emissions spread across a wide range of frequencies. A narrowband signal, concentrated tightly at a single frequency, is characteristic of artificial transmission. It is what a radio transmitter produces. Nature does not, as a rule, produce narrowband signals at 1420 megahertz, and it came from the constellation Sagittarius, from a region of sky with no known radio source, no identified star, no pulsar, no galaxy or nebula. That could account for what was recorded. The signal appeared to come from empty space, or from something in that space that the catalogs of 1977 did not contain. Ehman and the Ohio State team attempted to redetect the signal in the weeks and months after its discovery. They pointed Big Ear at the same region of sky repeatedly for extended periods. Other radio observatories were contacted. The signal had drawn enough attention within the SETI community that coordinated efforts were organized. Nothing was found. The sky in that direction was silent. The search has continued in various forms and with various instruments for nearly half a century. The VLA in New Mexico, the Allen Telescope Array in California, the FAST telescope in China, the largest radio telescope ever built. None have detected the signal again. In 2012, on the 35th anniversary of the detection, a message was transmitted toward the WOW, signal's apparent origin point, a composite communication assembled from messages submitted by 10,000 people through Twitter, encoded and broadcast from a Ukrainian radio telescope. It was a response to something that might have been a question, sent in hope rather than expectation. If something was listening at the distance implied by the signal's apparent origin, a reply would take decades to arrive at minimum. Nothing has arrived. The scientific community has offered natural explanations. The most persistent was advanced in 2017 by astronomer Antonio Paris, who proposed that the signal was produced by a hydrogen cloud surrounding one or more comets passing through the relevant region of sky in August 1977. The comets he identified, 266 P. Christensen and P. 2008 Y2 Gibbs, were in approximately the right location at the right time. Ehman and other researchers reviewed Paris's analysis carefully and pushed back with equal care. Comets, they noted, do not typically produce narrowband signals at the hydrogen frequency. They produce broad-spectrum emissions across many frequencies simultaneously, not the tight, focused transmission that was recorded. The intensity of the WOW signal, 30 times background noise, also exceeds what comet hydrogen clouds are generally expected to produce, and Paris's calculations of the comet's precise positions in August 1977 were themselves disputed. The debate was not cleanly resolved. Other hypotheses have been proposed. Terrestrial radio frequency interference reflected by space debris or satellites, an undiscovered natural astrophysical phenomenon producing narrowband emission, a classified military or intelligence satellite whose existence was never publicly acknowledged. None of these explanations account satisfactorily for the full combination of characteristics: the precise frequency, the narrowband nature, the intensity, the direction, the duration, the clean bell curve rise and fall, consistent with a fixed astronomical source, crossing Big Ear's beam. Each factor alone might have a mundane explanation. All of them together simultaneously have not been satisfactorily accounted for by any natural mechanism that astronomers and physicists have been able to propose. Big Ear itself was demolished in 1998. Ohio State had sold the land. The telescope that had listened to the sky for decades was torn down to make way for a golf course expansion. The course now occupies the site where, on a night in August 1977, the antenna array had swept past a patch of sky and heard something. The printout survived. The paper with the red circle and the handwritten notation in the margin is one of the most examined single documents in the history of science. It has been photographed, scanned, digitized, displayed in museums. It is a column of alphanumeric characters that, depending on what they mean, is either the most significant astronomical recording ever made or a very unusual piece of data still awaiting a conventional explanation. Jerry Ehman spent his career carefully, scrupulously, refusing to claim more than the evidence allowed. He said consistently and in interview after interview across the decades that he did not know what the signal was. He said it was worth investigating seriously. He said that a single detection was not sufficient basis for claiming contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. He also said in an interview in 2010 that if the signal had a natural origin, he wanted to know what that natural origin was. No one has told him. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. It contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies. The wow signal lasted 72 seconds on a Tuesday night in August, was recorded in a column of numbers on a paper printout, and has never been heard again. Whatever it was, wherever it came from, whatever sent it, it spoke once into the dark and then fell silent. We are still listening on a